For years, the Alaska Triangle explored one of the strangest and most mysterious regions on Earth, a frozen wilderness where planes vanish, compasses spin wildly, and legends come to life. But in 2022, during what was supposed to be their final expedition, something happened. The crew captured footage so shocking, so terrifying, that the production shut down overnight. Officially, the show went on hiatus. Unofficially, insiders whispered that the FBI had stepped in and seized everything, footage that was never meant for the public. Tonight, we uncover the truth about the episode that ended the Alaska Triangle forever. It began like any other expedition, another daring trek deep into one of the most isolated corners of Alaska, the Wrangell St. Elias Range, a brutal world of jagged peaks, white silence, and endless snow. Even compasses struggled to work there. The network wanted something special for the season finale, something unforgettable. Legends spoke of vanishing miners, strange lights flickering over the tundra, and whispers of a creature locals called the Northern Giant. The crew nicknamed the location Devil's Pass, a desolate valley carved by glaciers and haunted by old stories. Native Alaskan tales warned of a spirit that walked upright under the midnight sun, a guardian that punished anyone who entered its sacred ground. Jeff Harmer, the production coordinator, laughed off the warnings, joking that ghost stories made for great ratings. But 20 miles from camp, the team's satellite feed went dead. No GPS, no cell signal, no radio, just static. Then researcher Mike Ricksecker noticed something strange. The coordinates they'd been given by the state survey didn't exist on any digital map. The valley appeared as a blank grid, an empty void. "It's like someone deleted this place," Mike muttered. Still, the crew pressed forward. Drones launched, cameras rolled. For the first time, the Alaska Triangle would film inside the heart of its namesake mystery. By nightfall, the temperature dropped below freezing. The first drone scans came back showing several heat signatures moving along the ridge. 5, maybe 6 shapes, walking in formation. Too big to be moose, too steady to be human. "Probably glare," said the pilot. But the longer they watched, the clearer it became. These shapes were walking upright. The crew crowded around the monitor, silent except for the sound of heavy breathing picked up on their mics. Somewhere beyond the edge of the light, something moved. Slow, deliberate. Then the ground began to hum. A deep, mechanical vibration rolled through the earth, powerful enough to shake the cameras. No one spoke for nearly a minute. Then Harper, the cameraman, whispered, "Whatever's out there, it already knows we're here." When the sun rose the next morning, the snow around the camp told a story none of them wanted to believe. Jeff was the first to spot the prints, deep, long, and perfectly shaped. Each one stretched nearly 18 inches from heel to toe. The stride between them was impossible for any human to make without jumping. The tracks didn't attack or rush their tents. They circled them. "It studied us," Jeff said. Ken Gerhard knelt beside one of the prints, pressing his palm into the frozen indentation. "This isn't melt," he said softly. "Whatever made this was heavy. 5, maybe 600 pounds. The edges were clean. No drag marks, no collapse of snow." "That's not random animal behavior," Ken added. "That's intent." They made plaster casts for the episode, recording every detail. But the tension was growing. Their GPS still refused to calibrate, showing them miles from where they actually stood. Even magnetic compasses spun uselessly in circles. At noon, Mike called everyone over to a clearing behind the ridge. "You need to see this," he said. The footprints continued toward the tree line, then stopped. No scatter, no fading, just ended mid-stride, like something had walked straight into the air and vanished. "The snow ahead is untouched," Harper muttered. "Nothing human can move like that." That night, they set up motion sensors and audio recorders around camp. At 2:14 a.m., the microphones captured a deep growl rolling through the valley, a low, rhythmic exhale that rattled their tents. When they played the recording back, something horrifying hid beneath the static. 2 syllables, repeated twice. Every single person heard it. "Go home." By the third night, the team thought the worst was behind them. They had footage, plaster casts, and hours of drone recordings. They were ready to leave. But the producers wanted one last shot, an aerial sweep through the canyon where the heat signatures had appeared. Drone pilot Bryce launched 3 drones equipped with thermal imaging and 4K night vision. For 20 minutes, everything went smoothly. Then, at exactly 11:27 p.m., every feed froze. No signal drop, no warning, just instant stillness. Static filled the screens, followed by a flash of white light. And then, one single frame broke through across all 3 monitors. It showed a massive figure standing on a slope above the trees, its body backlit by moonlight. It was upright, with broad shoulders, long arms, and a dome-shaped head. For a brief second, its eyes reflected white. Then, the feed went black again. Bryce tried rebooting. Nothing worked. Moments later, every light in camp dimmed and died. The generators failed. Even satellite phones went dark. The silence that followed was suffocating. From somewhere in the woods came a slow, heavy rhythm, like footsteps crunching through snow. "It's close," Mike whispered. The crew aimed flashlights toward the ridge. For a moment, nothing moved. Then, 2 faint glows appeared high above the slope. Eyes, reflecting their light, fixed directly on them. Too high to be human. The eyes blinked once and vanished. Suddenly, all their equipment came back to life. Lights flickering, cameras whirring, as if nothing had happened. But when Bryce checked the system clock, every drone had gone offline for exactly 13 minutes. To the network, it was a glitch. To the crew, it was something else. When they reviewed the footage later, they found fragments, corrupted, jumpy frames filled with static. But in one still image, perfectly clear, something stood out. A cave entrance, halfway up the mountainside, carved into the rock, hidden by shadows and snow. And inside that hollow space, a silhouette, massive, hunched, humanoid. Its proportions were wrong. Arms longer than its knees, head narrow and compressed. But what froze the crew wasn't its shape. It was what it held in its right hand, something metallic, reflective. When the footage was brightened, they realized what it was. One of their drones. Bryce stepped back from the monitor. "Pale, that's ours," he whispered. "Same light array, same props." The room went silent. If the creature had retrieved one of their earlier drones, it meant it understood what they were, and it was studying them. Zooming in further, they spotted markings carved into the cave wall behind it, circles crossed by straight lines like a map or warning. Before they could save the image, the editing software crashed. When they reopened it, the file was gone. Every copy wiped. Later that night, the crew spotted headlights down in the valley. 2 black SUVs. No plates, no sound. They parked for 10 minutes, turned off their lights, and disappeared into the trees. "Tell me that's not who I think it is," Jeff muttered. No one answered. By morning, a thick fog rolled down from the peaks, swallowing the camp. They packed quickly, ready to get out. But when they checked their GPS, the route they'd marked the day before had shifted nearly half a mile south. "It's like the mountain moved," Bryce said, staring at his screen. The air grew unnaturally quiet. No birds, no wind, no crunch of snow beneath their boots. Then they saw it. Fresh tire tracks leading into the forest. The prints were deep and new. Someone had been there. Following the tracks, they reached a clearing where the snow was flattened in a perfect circle. Black scorch marks burned into the ice, as if something had landed there. No debris, no footprints, just a clean ring of heat. Mike lifted his camera to take pictures, but the device glitched. "Storage corrupted," the screen flashed. Every photo from the past 48 hours was gone. Then, the radios crackled to life. A deep, calm voice cut through the static. "Pack your gear and leave. This area is restricted." Jeff demanded identification. No reply. The voice repeated, louder, "Leave the site immediately." Then silence. Moments later, the fog split open. At the tree line stood 2 black SUVs, doors opening. 4 men stepped out. No badges, no insignias, just dark parkas. One raised a hand. "Turn off your cameras," he said. "You're done here," Jeff protested. "We have permits from the network." The man just looked at him and said, "Not anymore." When they finally reached Anchorage 3 days later, every SD card, hard drive, and backup file was seized at the airport by federal agents. No paperwork, no receipts, just a warning. And for the first time since it began, the Alaska Triangle went completely dark. When the crew returned home, everything fell apart. The network stopped answering calls. Their emails bounced back. Even their contracts were deleted from the company database. Within a week, it was as if the Alaska Triangle had never existed. Jeff tried to speak out first. He contacted a podcast known for covering paranormal events and hinted that they had found something not from this world. But before the episode aired, he withdrew. He claimed he was not feeling well and stopped responding. A few days later, his social media went blank. All photos, all posts, gone. Bryce, the drone pilot, disappeared next. Friends said he packed up and moved to Oregon. When someone asked about the footage, he said, "Don't bring that up again," and hung up. Only one person kept talking, researcher Mike Ricksecker. Months later, he appeared at a conference in Colorado, quietly hinting that the final shoot wasn't a myth. "We saw something alive," he told a small audience, "something that shouldn't exist." He refused to describe it further, but he did reveal one strange detail. A backup file had survived. Before their hard drives were seized, he had secretly uploaded raw data from one drone to a private cloud server. The footage was corrupted, but not destroyed. For weeks, he tried restoring it, frame by frame, until one short clip finally played. It showed the mountainside where they'd filmed the strange cave. The snow was shifting, not from wind, but from pressure, like something massive was moving beneath it. Then, a shape emerged, tall, dark, and covered in frost. It pushed through the ice like breaking through glass. It stood upright, its shoulders heaving, breath visible in the cold air. For several seconds, it stared directly into the drone lens, eyes glowing white. Then it moved, not fast, but with impossible control, vanishing into the fog. The clip lasted 8 seconds. Mike said he never released it publicly because he was warned not to. "They came to my house," he whispered. "Two men in black coats. They knew my name, my schedule, even what kind of car I drove." When asked who they worked for, he only said, "Not from the network." Months passed, and the mystery deepened. Fans started noticing that official Alaska Triangle pages had quietly been deleted. Even reruns were removed from streaming platforms. The network gave no statement, but on a private Reddit forum, a user claiming to be a post-production intern posted something shocking. A single still frame allegedly pulled from the lost episode. It showed the interior of a cave, dimly lit by a drone's floodlight. On the wall behind the massive figure were symbols, circles crossed by lines, just like the ones described earlier. But now, in full color, they looked carved with precision. At the bottom of the image, near the creature's feet, was something human. A boot frozen upright in ice. Within hours, the image vanished. The account was deleted. Still, copies spread. Analysts confirmed that the boot matched the exact make worn by Jeff, the production coordinator, but Jeff was alive. He'd been seen weeks earlier in Anchorage. So whose boot was it? That question fueled endless speculation. Some believed it belonged to a miner from decades ago. Others thought it was a warning, a trophy. But one detail stood out. The ice surrounding the boot was translucent, and faintly, behind it, you could see something else. A shadow shaped like a human face, frozen mid-scream. Then came the final revelation. 6 months after the disappearance of the footage, a hiker named Tom Larkin uploaded a short GoPro video from a solo trip through the Wrangell Range. He had no connection to the show, but his route overlapped with the same coordinates where the Alaska Triangle filmed their last episode. In the video, Tom laughs as he walks through snow, joking about finding Bigfoot, but halfway through, his laughter stops. He zooms in on a ridge where black shapes move between the trees, too large and too smooth to be animals. He whispers, "What the hell is that?" and crouches. For 10 seconds, the camera trembles. Then, in the distance, a tall figure steps into the open. It's massive, at least 8 feet tall, and its outline matches perfectly with the silhouette from the lost footage. But here's the detail that froze everyone who watched. The creature was holding something metal in one hand. When Tom steadies the camera, the shape catches sunlight, the twisted remains of a drone. Moments later, the screen shakes violently. Tom screams once, Then the feed cuts off. His body was found 2 weeks later by search teams. His camera was recovered, but the SD card had melted inside. After that, no one tried to film in that area again. The state quietly restricted access to a 10-mile radius around Devil's Pass, labeling it unstable terrain. Officially, the closure was for avalanche risk, but locals said there were no avalanches that year. Even pilots reported strange things over the coordinates: instruments glitching, fuel gauges spinning, and bright flashes seen from above the clouds. One bush pilot described a beam of light cutting through the fog, like a searchlight from below. When he radioed it in, air traffic control told him no ground crews were operating in that area. He turned back immediately. Others weren't so lucky. In the months that followed, 2 private planes vanished while flying near the same mountain range. No wreckage was ever recovered. Locals began calling the site the mouth of the mountain. They claimed it wasn't just land, it was alive, swallowing whatever entered. By early 2023, every member of the original crew had disappeared from public life. None gave interviews. Their names were quietly removed from IMDb listings and press archives. Only one person spoke again, briefly. An anonymous Reddit account, believed to be Bryce's, posted a message in a private forum for documentary filmmakers. It said, "We found a cave. Not natural. It goes down for miles. Something watches from below. Don't go back." The account was deleted minutes later. Today, the Alaska Triangle exists only in memory, a show erased by its own discovery. But rumors persist that somewhere, in an encrypted vault belonging to the network, the original footage remains. A few production assistants swear they saw more than what aired. One described a final, unedited clip recorded during their escape. In the video, the crew is hiking out of the valley. It's snowing heavily. Jeff turns the camera toward the mountains one last time and zooms in. For just one frame, through the falling snow, something enormous can be seen standing at the mouth of the cave, motionless, watching them leave. Then it lifts its hand. Some say it was waving. Others say it was warning them not to come back. Weeks later, the network headquarters in Los Angeles received a final package. No return address. Inside was a small, frost-covered SD card wrapped in black tape. Written on it in silver marker were 2 words: "Not alone." No one knows who sent it. The footage, if it was ever played, has never been released. But insiders claim it wasn't just video. It was a message, a faint voice layered under static. A voice that said, "We see you." Since then, locals near the Wrangell St. Elias Range say they sometimes hear strange sounds echoing through the snow at night, deep, rhythmic thuds like distant footsteps. Others have seen lights rising from the valley floor, glowing red, white, then fading to blue. Scientists dismiss it as magnetic interference. Hunters say it's something else. And if you ask the few pilots who still fly near Devil's Pass, they'll tell you the same thing sometimes. When you look down into the fog, you can see movement, something walking, something waiting. The Alaska Triangle was supposed to be a show about mysteries. Instead, it became one.